What's going on, guys? It's Bob from Olympusiron, and as you can tell by the title, Crazy Bench Volume. That's what we have today. I was fortunate enough to train with Brandon Campbell twice to start off my New Year's back-to-back, and I also was fortunate enough to meet up with Anthony, who has been on a Brandon Campbell video already, and I am familiar with being that he's on Instagram and that we are all Forged Iron training athletes or affiliated with them in some way. Although me and Anthony rocked Forged Iron and Campbell Fitness was that YouTube money ever forward from Max Tuning. Now, what you're seeing here is we're doing heavy threes. This is the 275 that I worked up to, and I actually worked up to 285, but what happened with me is I did it for 2 because 3 would have been a PR, and the next time I did it, I almost got the 3. I needed a little help from Brandon, but I don't count that in my book. Maybe Brandon does, but I don't. I know Brandon's usually count those, but here Brandon's actually getting 315 paused, and I was definitely not touching the bar. I wanted him to get this, and he killed it, and you will see later in the video that Ant actually has a huge PR that he hits later in the video. But some of the gear that we're wearing, if you guys are curious, I know that Brandon's wearing Nike Freeze. I know he usually doesn't bench in those shoes, and he had some issues with them. But correct me if I'm wrong, but Anthony's wearing the CrossFit Lights or LTs or whatever. They're basically the CrossFit shoe, I believe, from Reebok. But Mark Bell tends to advertise them or put them out there a lot. I'm wearing Addy Powers with mine because my feet were slipping a little bit on this surface, so I was trying to get planted, and as little leg drive I have, I tried to maximize it the most possible. So this is Ant crushing 335, which is awesome. He's actually using the hammy bands from Mark Bell. They're both using gangster wraps. I'm using the all-purpose wraps, and me and Ant chose to use a belt of similar color because, hell, we're not really similar color. I'm much, much paler. But our shirts are Forged Iron, like I've mentioned before. Check them out in the description. They're really, really good cotton, as a lot of people tend to go to that Hyperfit lately, which I'm a fan of, but definitely not for squatting or for, certain exercises. And I like to mix it up too. I don't like to dedicate myself to one fabric, if you know what I'm saying. But overall, a heavy bench day. I mean, this is Ant's first attempt at 350, and I thought he had it. I'm like yelling at him at this point, and I'm like, come on, buddy, let's go. Like right here, he stopped himself, and he went down a little bit, but he called Brandon to get it. We definitely wanted him to attempt that again, which he did, thankfully. During halfway through this set, I know it might seem stupid, but I actually ended up supersetting bench with incline, like light incline dumbbell, which honestly I think burned me out for some of my sets for 285. Not that it really matters about the weight, but when you're benching with 2 guys that are pretty damn strong, the ego sometimes gets in the way. And not saying that I was ego lifting at all, I feel like I just fatigued myself. My form, I was really happy with. I actually, from this angle, didn't really notice that my arch has gotten so much better. I didn't really have an arch before, and now I do for some reason, which is nice. Even though it's a slight arch, it isn't crazy. I don't have crazy mobility, but for me, it's a good arch. And as you can see, Brandon's helped me out. I'm definitely fatigued at this point, but I'm still pressing forward. This is Ant going for that big 350. I'm super pumped for him because look at how slow he goes down, controls that weight. Bah, 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 don't touch it, Brandon. Don't touch it. Bam! And it's done. And it's done in the books. 350 is his new max because he wanted to reset those PRs. Here's me hitting 225 at the end of all these crazy sets, and I end up managing 10 reps with 225, which was a success in my book. I was very happy about it. And I was playing with my stance. Don't really have an arch on this one, if you notice, or maybe that's just the t-shirt hanging low. But Great workout, guys. We went to Gansett wraps afterwards, which was awesome. I got the buffalo chicken wrap because if you don't like buffalo chicken, you're un-American. And this is Brandon going wide grip. He likes to do variations wide grip, close grip as accessories to his workout. As you can see, after this, we actually ended up doing incline dumbbell accessories, and I ended up doing flies as well. I believe this is him and doing 245 for 14 or 15 reps close grip, which is actually pretty impressive after all this volume. Because Anna's a big guy. They're both very tall. I'd be 6'3", 6'4" for sure. 6'3" for Brandon. I don't know about Ant. Ant, you can comment below. But seriously, they towered over me. And I'm a taller guy. I'm like around about 6 feet, 5'11". And they're just humongous. So this is an awesome accomplishment for him. I feel like with the volume, it just says something about our muscular endurance at this point, which was awesome. And then after this, I ended up doing triceps, but with only a plate, just repping out as many as I possibly can. Maybe you can see triceps under that pasty white skin, but for me, I'm just not sure. This is the second time I'm using those clamps on the end of the barbell. It's probably been featured on Brandon Campbell's videos before, which is the it's the clamp. What is it? Lockjaw. Clamps. But go check out Brandon's channel. I'm sure he mentions them a bunch. They worked really well. The weight doesn't move. Here is Ant just repping out some 40s, and then this ended up taking way too long, so I just, instead of showing you every single rep, I would just show a little bit of each. Get everyone some of that camera time. But make sure to actually check out Ant's raw footage on his channel. He just does raw footage. He doesn't do any voiceovers, nothing like that. I know he might be getting into that, but right now he's just tracking his progress, and I can respect that. Also, you always know to check out Brandon Campbell's channel, which I think he did an amazing job with both of our collabs. He has a way of putting voiceover content into a video that just doesn't bore me, keeps me engaged. It's a good mix of jokes, technicality, form critique, and just some banter in there, some friendly banter. But if you aren't subscribed to the channel, make sure you do, and make sure to give me a thumbs up.